The cold blue sun of Vyrlia hung low in the sky, casting pale shadows across the floating city of Telarian. On this world, high above the storm-lashed oceans, lived a race known as the Zephyrins, tall, elegant beings of glass-like skin, bioluminescent veins, and fragile, humming wings that shimmered in the dim atmosphere. They were known across the galaxy for their beauty, their culture, and their strict adherence to genetic perfection. Avarice was born unlike the others. She was large, too large. Her wings had never unfolded properly. Her body did not shimmer with the same symmetrical brilliance as the others. At over 3 meters tall, she towered over even the elders of her kind, her musculature more like a warrior's than a dancer's. Her voice resonated deeper. Her gait was heavier, but most damning of all, her reproductive core, the inner chamber that matured life seeds within Zephyrin females, was deemed inactive. She could not reproduce. In the eyes of the Zephyrin Council, avarice was an evolutionary error, a threat to the genetic purity of the species. And so, at the age of 17 Virilian cycles, she was cast out, flown by skyship to the outer clouds, and dropped onto an abandoned platform drifting above the acidic waves, left with only scraps of food and an ancient Zephyrin data scroll. She was to be forgotten. But fate had other plans. On the other side of the galaxy, the Human Expansion Navy was sending its first scientific envoy to Vyrlia. Known as a borderline uninhabitable gas planet, it had caught human attention for its unexplained electromagnetic anomalies. The envoy ship, Aurora Venture, was led by Commander Jacob Reeve, a former frontliner turned xeno-research officer after a combat injury left him with a cybernetic spine and a new perspective on life. Jacob had little interest in diplomacy, but a great fascination with planetary ruins and forgotten myths. When he intercepted a weak but anomalous distress signal from an uncharted platform in Vyrlia's upper atmosphere, he diverted his course. What he found wasn't a ruin. She stood atop the wind-battered platform, backlit by lightning and acid rain clouds. Her glowing skin reflected starlight. Her towering form looked both powerful and tragic, alien and yet hauntingly human in her solitude. Jacob expected hostility. Instead, she simply looked at him and turned away. He approached carefully. "Do you understand me?" he asked through his translator. "I understand," she replied in a deep, resonant voice. "But I am not meant to be seen." He stayed. For days, he came and returned, bringing supplies, food, tools. He repaired broken consoles, connected her data scroll to the ship's AI, and began to understand her. She was brilliant, insightful. She spoke of the Zephyrin sciences, art, history, and philosophy, but always beneath her voice was sorrow. "I was not made for anything," she once told him. "I was a failure from birth. They called me a genetic labyrinth with no door leading out." Jacob disagreed. "You are more than their boxes and rules," he said. "You're a being who deserves life, choice, love." That word, love, meant little to her at first. Zephyrins mated through genetic harmony, through ritualized unions. But this bond, this connection growing between her and the strange human with the cyberspine and soft eyes, that was different. When the Zephyrin High Guard discovered Jacob's unsanctioned visits to the abandoned platform, they acted swiftly. A warship was dispatched. The Zephyrins did not kill, at least not openly, but they wielded energy that could disintegrate memory, remove presence, erase someone's entire history from neural systems. Jacob was captured mid-return. Avarice sensed his disappearance like a blade across her chest. She had never flown before, not with those wings, not properly. But with fury and desperation, she leapt from her platform and powered them with all the strength her oversized body could generate. They tore through the air, not gracefully but powerfully like a storm riding a storm. She found the warship above the ionosphere. She didn't ask permission. She crashed through the hull, roaring with fury. The guards were not prepared for physical combat. Zephyrins fought with mind suppressants, with grace and psionic manipulation. Avarice fought with raw force, and she tore through them. She reached Jacob moments before the memory extractor was deployed. "You came for me," he gasped. "Always," she said. They fled together. Jacob's ship was crippled, but Avarice, her wings now fully extended, her muscles attuned to atmospheric dynamics, carried them both to the edge of Vyrlia's exosphere, where the Aurora Venture had begun search operations. They escaped, barely, weeks passed. Avarice lived aboard the human ship. She was studied, yes, but with consent, with care. Humans were fascinated by her. Geneticists saw her not as a failure but an evolution, an adaptation. She carried dormant strands, ones never seen in Zephyrins before, linked to ancient fertility genes suppressed over millennia. It turned out she was not infertile. She was carrying a different form of reproductive potential, one not activated by Zephyrin rituals, but by emotional bonding. Love, trust, mutual affection. Human traits. The first sign came when her bioluminescent veins began to pulse in rhythm with Jacob's heart rate. The second came when her core began to hum, a frequency no Zephyrin had ever emitted. The third was the embryo, a hybrid, half human, half Zephyrin, impossible yet real, carried within a being once deemed useless. When the Zephyrin Council received news, they responded with horror and fascination. The child represented a breach of everything they believed about purity and evolution. A council delegation demanded avarice, and the embryo be surrendered for analysis and containment. The human alliance refused. War loomed. But Jacob and Avarice, now bonded and with child, took a third option. They left. Avarice piloted the Aurora venture into uncharted space with Jacob and a crew of trusted allies. They sought a new home, one where species were not judged by form or legacy, but by heart and mind. They became symbols of resistance, of the breaking of ancient chains. Their child, named Lyra, was born in orbit around a golden world never claimed by any empire. Her skin shimmered like a Zephyrin star, and her laugh echoed like a human's. In time, others joined them, outcasts, hybrids, dreamers. They built a city in the clouds, where the past no longer ruled and where love, not genetics, defined worth. And in that city, Avarice walked proud and tall, no longer the outcast, no longer broken, but the mother of a new future.